25 is for puppets. After the excitement in the Land of Waves, Team 7 didn't get another C rank like they'd hoped. No, instead it was back to a series of dull D ranks. Assisting the postal service delivering letters, painting fences, babysitting a pair of twins, and catching a lost cat named Tora for the Fire Daimyo's wife. That was a breeze, Haruhi mused, carrying a purring Tora in her arms on the way back to the mission desk. The cat was so affectionate and easy. It felt like stealing money from the client. Sensei kept side-eyeing the cat though, as if expecting she'd make a break for it. But Tora was a sweetheart. Sasuke hummed in agreement. At least we had more success completing a mission for the wife than the sister. The D-rank missions felt endless, like Konoha never ran out of chores. Team 7 was hired to clean out roof gutters. Then they helped a beekeeper relocate their hive. They patched potholes and captured an escaped messenger hawk that had gone on strike, before they tended a garden by mowing the lawn and weeding it, when Naruto took charge. Easy with that! Naruto grabbed the bottle in Sasuke's hand before he could tip it onto the weeds. What? Vinegar kills the weed. Yeah, but it kills everything else too, Naruto insisted. Dump that into the soil and it'll kill the rose bushes too. Fine. Sasuke took a step back, but Naruto still wouldn't let him. The roots spread out underground. You still might poison the roses. Give me that. Hey, no. You're supposed to blend it out with water. That's pure vinegar. What the hell? Why do you know so much about gardening all of a sudden? Naruto was giving Haruhi flashbacks to working in the garden on Privet Drive. But he was right about the vinegar. She'd forgotten, but that was true. Between missions, Haruhi joined Team Guy for some more morning training sessions too. It fit well with her schedule. Team Guy started at 5, so when Haruhi showed for work at 8, she'd already completed a training session. Negia brought up the graffiti on the Hokage mountain once, asking Guy Sensei pointed questions that went nowhere. Their sensei mostly said it was scrubbed off because it looked terrible if foreigners saw it. That got Shio going, analyzing every angle of it with the relentless enthusiasm of someone whose academic brain made it easy to overlook what a noisy gossip she was at heart. A true bloodhound out for rumors. But with no leads and too much else to do, they shelved the mystery for later. It was Agility Day, and surviving Guy Sensei's program took priority. Worn, sore, and hair wet from a rushed shower, Haruhi padded past Sasuke at the assigned meeting spot. She stopped next to Naruto, who'd made himself comfortable leaning against the trunk of a tree. It seemed a good spot, a decent substitute for a bed, and Haruhi slid boneless onto the ground, ready for a nap. Bemused at her state, Naruto peered down at her. You were training with Bushido Brow Sensei's team again? Haruhi murmured, making herself comfortable in the grass. I went for a run this morning too, you know. That's great, Naruto. Yeah, I saw you with the team though, he said. Why were you all leapfrogging between the market stall roofs? Because it's Agility Day, and Guy Sensei said the ground was lava. Okay? It came out sounded like he was unsure whether that made sense. And you do that every day now? No. Haruhi yawned. Not when they have missions, and sometimes they have afternoon training instead of mornings. I don't intend those. I can't. We start so much later, I'm still at work when they're doing afternoon training. The grass was soft, dry and warm, and Haruhi curled up in the morning sun. She was almost asleep when Naruto said, If you want, you can run with me instead on the days Team Guy's busy. Rolling onto her back, Haruhi squinted up at him, raising a hand to shade the sun from her eyes. Naruto was fidgeting with the grass, tearing at it, and suddenly Haruhi was a little unsure. Did Naruto offer because he wanted Haruhi to join him? Or did he want to train with Team Guy too, but didn't know if he was welcome? Haruhi wasn't sure either. She wouldn't mind it, but also, it was rude to invite her teammate to another team's training. especially when Naruto kept using insulting nicknames like Goggle Girl and Bushy Brow. Then again, Guy-sensei still couldn't remember Haruhi's name either. The closest he'd gotten to any permanent nickname for her was after Shio explained, in a huff of exasperation, the meaning of the kanji used for Haruhi. See, sensei? Shio had circled the name Haruhi twice on a note, and was pointing back and forth from the kanji to the name's owner, trying to connect those two things in her sensei's brain. Just think of how the kanji in Haruhi's name literally means spring plus sunshine. Spring sunshine. Spring sunshine! Lee said enthusiastically, catching on to the wrong part of Shio's lesson. Yes, that's the meaning of the name Haruhi. A light bulb went up for Guy-sensei as well. That meaning was right up Guy-sensei and Lee's vocabulary. What an inspiring meaning for the name for a blooming Konochi! Let's give it all, Spring Sunshine! As a reincarnated witch with a morbid background, born in the deep autumn of late October, being named Spring Sunshine seemed so damn ironic to her. In the complete opposite way of how Shisui's name had turned ironic. Sometimes Haruhi wondered what her parents had been thinking, calling their first kid Death Water, and the second Spring Sunshine. Maybe she'd been an overcorrection. Regardless, the silly nicknames Guy-sensei used for everything meant Naruto should fit right in. For now though, Haruhi could train with Naruto and take it from there. Sure. Want to run tomorrow? His answering smile could compete with the sunrise. I had a pretty hard session today though, she clarified. And I'm going to a birthday party this evening too. Does 6 tomorrow morning work for you? It should give us enough time to train before team meetup at 8. Besides, we always wait a couple hours waiting for sensei. It'll give us a nice long break after training. I'm in! Great! Though speaking of late starts, wake me up when sensei gets here, will you? She requested, slumping back onto the grass and was asleep in minutes. She must have jinxed herself, Haruhi figured. Because for the first time, Kakashi-sensei was a measly 30 minutes late instead of the expected 2 hours. No! You're early? She groaned, rubbing the grass prints stamped onto her cheeks. After picking up a mission, they strode through Konoha listening to Kakashi-sensei's mission briefing. This is a rush D-rank request that came in this morning. We're running a tea house while the owners are at the hospital. What happened? Naruto asked. Did the kettle explode and everyone got burned on tea water? No, they're just having a baby. Soon, Haruhi spotted a sign by a greenhouse, reading, Konoha Chaya closed. It was situated a corner away from the village gates, and as they headed in, Sensei flipped it to Konoha Chaya open. Peering around, the tea house felt warm in a way that settled into her bones. Wood and steam and the faint, comforting scent of roasted tea. Soft light filtered through the paper screens, turning the whole room gentle. Low tables, clean lines, and a single flower in a vase. The shop was run by a married couple, but only the husband lingered behind to give rushed instructions. Okay. Tea leaves are here, sweets are here. Don't let the kettle boil over. Wipe the tables clockwise, wear the tea shop apron, tie up your hair, and no visible weapons or metal, please. I don't want customers to feel any ninja pressure. This is a calm, relaxed shop. He paused mid-sentence, his attention on Naruto. What? But you're... Sensei cleared his throat. Something the matter? No. But he scowled at Naruto, like the blonde had put a fart pillow on all the seats in the tea house once. For all Haruhi knew, he might have. This was becoming a pattern though, as clients around the village kept reacting weirdly to Naruto in particular. Haruhi suspected the blonde was a far more notorious prankster than she'd realized back in the academy, seeing as complete strangers kept reacting to him. By now they knew to just get on with it. Naruto had turned over a new leaf. He really wasn't pranking much anymore. And with time, everyone else would see that too. One boring D rank at a time. I have to go. Thank you. Please don't burn the shop down. The owner bowed and soon he was out the door. How long does it take to have a baby? Naruto asked Haruhi while they tied on their aprons. A few hours, maybe? She figured, untying her weapon pouch and thought to protect her. I hear it's different for everyone. Think they'll be back before closing? Sasuke wondered aloud. Or do we have to close? She's birthing a baby, Haruhi said, incredulous he'd even go there. She might just be a little too sore to run a tea house right now. You try keeping your customers smile after ejecting another person from your insides. Pain isn't an issue, her cousin muttered, so low she almost didn't catch it. I'd manage. Ha! Haruhi laughed in disbelief. It wasn't the part about pain that triggered her objection, but asking Sasuke to smile at a stranger? Impossible. I could. Doesn't matter if you can or can't, you simply won't. Naruto can, I can, but you? No way. Ha! Naruto yelled, delighted. For all Sasuke was born the spitting image of Aunt Mikoto, his personality left no doubt he was Fugaku's son. Even well rested on the sunniest of days, he wouldn't feign politeness to random strangers. But when hurt too? Never. I can, he said stiffly. Haruhi handed him his apron, holding it out like a challenge. Prove it, please. Greet the customers with a smile and make them feel welcome and relaxed. You won't last 5 minutes. It was easy to mistake Sasuke's quietness for subtlety, but her cousin actually wore his heart on his sleeve nearly as much as Naruto did. But what to do when your heart is black, Sasuke took his apron slowly, but side-eyed the fabric like it might catch on fire. As if you're any better. But I am. Haruhi smiled her sweetest, tilting her head just the slightest and widening her eyes in a way she knew softened her face, projecting easy warmth the way her mum, the way Aunt Mikoto, could melt a room, masking all signs of the sharp glee Haruhi felt at his misery. Naruto stared at her weirdly. Whatever. But starting to realize she might have a point, Sasuke huffed, trying to move the point. These D-ranks are pointless. It doesn't make us stronger. This is pretty much undercover practice, and you'd... well... Haruhi gave a funny little nod, leaving the fail at it unspoken. It is about blending in, which is an important part of the job while helping the citizens of our village. Kakashi-sensei agreed, looking between them while making a quick decision. Yes. Haruhi, you'll work the front and serve the customers. The boys can go back to the kitchen. I can do the customers, Sasuke said, as if determined to show he really could succeed as an undercover waiter. It's not up to you who does what, Sensei said dryly. This is still a mission, and we're dividing tasks according to what will optimize mission success, not your bet. The customer didn't want the ninja vibe, Kakashi, Sasuke reminded him frankly. And Haruhi's not fooling anyone into thinking she's a civilian with that scar. Pardon? Haruhi pouted. I can look harmless, even covered in the blood of my enemies, thank you very much. Nah, Naruto said, doubtful. Then you'd really look like a vampire. As interesting as that is to strive for, Sensei said casually. We're serving tea. Naruto, maybe you should take the front. No, I'll do it, Sensei. I know how to do this. Haruhi hurried to say before her job was given away. Strictly speaking, this wasn't even close to an undercover assignment. But what did that matter when she had to prove Sasuke wrong? Tugging at her bangs, Haruhi combed her hair to lay differently, covering the scar along her scalp just a little better. Unless she borrowed one of Sensei's masks, there was nothing to cover the part over her face. But at least this way the scar looks slightly shorter, more a face scar than a head wound. She usually didn't bother, since her hair naturally wanted to give way for the scar. But it'd be fixable during a mundane mission spent indoors serving tea. When the first customer arrived minutes later, Haruhi was ready at the door, channeling the picture of a demure tea house girl. It wasn't that hard, and the only ones to notice anything of were the regulars. "They're at the hospital having a baby. We're only here for the day, but rest assured, you're in excellent hands," Haruhi said, showing her grandma to her seat. The morning rush arrived in a steady stream of regulars who all wanted the usual. A pair of Chunin came by on their way to the gates, Kotetsu-san and a friend, the two grabbing something warm before their shift, while one elderly muggle man insisted on telling Haruhi she looked different today. The boys kept things running in the back, while Haruhi flittered between customers, and Kakashi-sensei was off somewhere. Team 7 found their rhythm by mid-morning, and when the lunch rush finally thinned, Konohachaya was left in a warm, quiet lull. Sunlight filtered through the northern curtains, catching the steam rising from the kettle. Haruhi wiped down a table with practiced motions, wondering if she should visit a tea house herself at some point. Like most tea houses in the village, Konohachaya was nice and inviting, but she'd rarely frequented these places. Perhaps it was because Haruhi carried some unfortunate associations from her past life. Despite the United Kingdom having a lot of tea houses too, she'd mostly seen them from the outside. Aunt Petunia would never take her niece for tea, so she'd only visited a tea house once. And Konohachaya was nothing like Madame Puddifoot's. No, not at all. That was worlds away, but a sting shot through her chest when Haruhi recalled how she and Ron had been in Hogsmeade back in 4th year, out looking for somewhere warm in the February chill, somewhere else than the Three Broomsticks, and happened upon an untested tea house. The moment the door shut behind them, they were overwhelmed. Pink. Everywhere. Lace dripping from the ceiling and perfume thick enough to taste. There were couples pressed together in every corner, whispering, giggling, kissing. She and Ron had frozen in the doorway like two deer in a want light. Bloody hell, Ron had muttered under his breath. But the owner had spotted them before they could escape, so they'd sat anyway, too polite and embarrassed to turn around. The table was tiny, the chairs were tiny, the teacups were tiny. Everything was frilly and pink, and even the steam rising from the kettle moved in heart-shaped airflows. The waiter placed a plate of scones between them with a wink, while one table over, Cho Chang and Cedric Diggory were being disgustingly perfect. Heads bent together over a shared cup of cocoa. Cedric laughed at something Cho whispered, her cheeks turning pinker than the wallpaper. They lasted maybe 5 minutes, long enough for Ron to stuff a scone into his mouth and for Holly to realize the entire room assumed they were on a date, and this might end up in the Witch Weekly, before they bolted back into the street. They laughed about it later. Hey, they had good scones though, I'll give them that, Ron had insisted. It had been Holly Potter's first and last visit to a tea shop. Uchiha Haruhi had been in some since, all before her family died. But the Konoha kind was the very opposite, and always would be. For one, Valentine's Day was, fortunately, not a concept here. Haruhi smiled to herself, imagining the amount of chocolate and cards Sasuke would have to dodge. He'd sooner use the cards for fire practice. And Haruhi would probably end up a few pounds heavier eating all the chocolate to save them from the trash can. Sasuke didn't like sweets. From the kitchen came the unmistakable sound of Naruto dropping something ceramic, just as two new customers stepped inside. This'll do, a girl said as Haruhi walked up to greet them. Her smile didn't falter even at the sight of the Suna emblem on their forehead protectors. The blonde kunoichi with sharp eyes carried a folded war fan. She was followed by a taller boy in kabuki face paint and wearing a hooded full-body jumpsuit. He was also carrying a bulky and bandaged thing on his back. Armed foreigners. Brilliant. Just what they needed. But Haruhi bowed politely. Welcome to Konohachaya. A table for two? Yes, thank you. The blonde nodded curtly. Haruhi guided them to a small table by the window, the boy dropping his bandaged lump next to the table, and immediately sprawled into his seat like he owned the place. The girl with the posture of someone who'd been correcting him all morning. If you have questions about the menu, I'll be happy to help, Haruhi said gently, setting down 2 cups and pouring the water. The girl reached for the menu, but the boy leaned forward. Hey, what do you recommend? He asked, elbow on the table, a slight smirk on his lips. Putting on her server persona, Haruhi said helpfully, "The Ojicha is very good, warm and calming." Yeah? The boy's eyes darted away and back again, and his smile widened. You've got good taste. Thank you, Haruhi said, because what else did one say to that? He'd caught onto the diagonal scar across her face, but didn't hide the stare, or a gesture, a vague swipe across his own cheek. Whoa, that's a hell of a scar. You got in a fight or something? The girl's head snapped towards him. Kankuro. Haruhi kept it short. It's an old childhood injury. That sounded vague, right? Maybe any civilian could just trip down the stairs and split their face in two. Looks kinda badass, actually. Kankuro leaned back. You pull off ninja chick well for a civvy. Haruhi smiled, putting on the sweetness, and he nearly knocked over his cup in his rush to look casual. Wait a minute. Maybe he was buying this a little too well. He was being a little too chatty and eager, watching her with an intensity she was more used to seeing Ino and Sakura look at Sasuke with. Should Haruhi tune it down? But he puffed up, clearly encouraged. I mean, I'm a shinobi, you know. Pretty strong one. My sister and I are here for the Chunin exam. We just arrived from Suna. Haruhi paused mid-note on her order pad. Then again, why should she stop foreigners from being overly chatty with who they assumed a civilian tea-house girl? That's impressive, Shinobi-san. I hear only the best enter the exam. Haruhi held eye contact longer than she was comfortable with, her smile never slipping. Like a civilian might if an exotic cool ninja dropped in on their mundane daily life to create some excitement. You must have traveled far, and with so much luggage too. Doesn't it get heavy? She pointed at the bandaged thing she couldn't figure out. The girl had a war fan, but she couldn't make sense of his weapon. It's not luggage, it's my puppet. A puppet? She gasped, mind racing ahead. A ninja puppeteer? Haruhi'd heard of the Suna Puppet Brigade, but never met them. How is that? You're a shinobi with a puppet? She smiled apologetically, trying to project the image of a civilian confused about shinobi gadgets. I mean, I had dolls growing up too, but what would a ninja need them for? It's not a doll. A wave of professional pride bled into Kankuro's voice, his expression vexed. Had she gone too far? She worries, but no. Because Kankuro didn't just deny it, he started showing how. Pulling on the bandages, he revealed the puppet's arm for a mechanics demonstration. See, if I just press here, this becomes a blade. There was a whistling swish and a dark tanto-length blade sprang out with an abrupt yank. Can your dolls do that, Well, none of her dolls did, true. But Harumi's old puzzle cube doubled as a lockpick trainer, and she loved her spinning top that was actually a smoke bomb as a kid. That looks really pointy. Kankuro, the girl said quietly, but he was too busy explaining his craft. Ha! It's not just pointy, not just sharp. It's connected to this, which leads to the capsule chamber and... Kankuro was explaining, while Haruhi suspected that capsule chamber was for poison. Instead of remarking on that, Haruhi kept on talking mostly by ohing and eyeing in the right places. Karasu was made by the ultimate puppeteer Suna ever had. He patted his puppet proudly, while Haruhi thought curiously, Karasu? He named his puppet Crow? Why? But I've added to it. Carving this joint here took 2 weeks and like 5 prototypes before I got it perfect. It's not just a wooden figurine, it's an engineering masterpiece. It's quite complicated. I can't make heads or tails of it, Haruhi said, attention caught by the metal joints where the arm bent. Metal joints could rust or creak, requiring lubricants akin to oil, begging the question, was that oil flammable? How well would this wooden puppet fare against her fire? Could Haruhi make him reveal more of his weapon? But, though willing to show the arm of his weapon, Kankuro didn't unravel the rest of the bandages. My bad. I've just never seen a puppeteer outside a street performance. She laughed. Or met anyone from Suna. It's so far away. But contenders have been coming through the gates the last few days, and Kona welcomes all participants. Kankuro brightened like a lumos. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not just any shinobi. I'm the Kazekage's son. Haruhi's eyebrows lifted a fraction. Oh wow, she said, her voice just a little breathy with awe. Eldest son, actually. Did that mean there was a younger son too? That sounds important. Kankuro beamed. Yeah, it is. And it comes with some real headache. The girl jerked. Haruhi heard a soft thump, like she'd kicked him under the table. He choked. Oh! Tamari! She didn't ask. My apologies, Kanochi-san. I didn't mean to keep you waiting. What can I get you? Haruhi asked the blonde. Tamari, was it? Cold barley tea. As you wish. Haruhi bowed politely, hiding her amusement. I'll bring your tea shortly. As she walked off, Tamari muttered something about idiots and father will hear about this. While Kankuro tried to defend himself in a whisper that was not quiet at all. Haruhi came back with the teapot, giggling lightly when Kankuro made a pretty dry joke, then returned to the kitchen where Sasuke was doing dishes. What are you smiling about? He asked, elbow deep in dishwater. And you said I couldn't look harmless. She pointed over her shoulder to the closed door. What do you mean? Naruto asked, eager for a distraction from chopping vegetables. What happened? There are a couple of Suna ninjas out there convinced I'm just a nice tea house girl. Possibly a bit clumsy, but harmless. The guys already shared their names, parentage, and ranks. That earned her a laugh from Naruto, but as usual, it took more to sway Sasuke. You mean useless info? If they're really from Suna, the gate guards already know that too. As the mature Kunoichi she was, Haruhi stuck out her tongue. It's more than you could have gotten. Nah, you've got potential, but there's room to improve. Kakashi-sensei had appeared out of nowhere, leaning against the fridge like he'd been there for hours. Ha! Naruto whirled on Sensei, brandishing his knife. Where have you been? Well, a black cat crossed my path, so I disposed of it. Disposed? Naruto sounded like he didn't buy a word of this. Where? The river. Haruhi was pretty sure Kakashi-sensei was lying, but if he wasn't, she really hoped Sensei hadn't thrown Inku in the river. She decided to ignore it for now and folded her arms. What did I do wrong out there then? Outside a couple exaggerated reactions, you had a slip-up. Next time remember that, generally, civilians flinch when a shinobi draws a 12-inch blade on them, which you forgot to do. Oh. Her shoulders slumped. He drew a blade on you? Naruto spluttered. He was just showing off. Haruhi waved it away. You're right, Sensei. I didn't consider that. I doubt the boy noticed, but the girl paid more attention to you after that, he said, eyes smiling. It was a decent attempt though. If this is about undercover information gathering, I still say it'd be a lot more effective to genjutsu the information out of him, Sasuke stated, like his way was automatically the best way. I disagree with that, Kakashi-sensei said conversationally. Don't underestimate the stupidity of a teenager trying to impress under illusion of a friendly smile. You remember how effective Haku used that on us in the Land of Waves? Besides, done right, it can get intel faster and safer than some of the most complex genjutsu. Snickering, Haruhi glanced meaningfully at Sasuke. Kakashi-sensei was onto something there. If Kankuro acted that loose-lipped with her, what could Sasuke do? The way Kankuro had looked at her lingered longer than she liked. The thought slipped in before she could stop it. So he... what? Liked her? Thought her pretty? As Holly, she'd been rather average-looking. Not ugly, not at all. But though she'd been the most famous student at Hogwarts, girls like Cho or Angelina or Ginny were the pretty ones. Holly's green eyes had been her best feature, and everything else was overshadowed by the scar and the name. As Uchiha Haruhi, objectively speaking, she was prettier. Though ironically, that old description still held true in this life as well. Her eyes, the Sharingan, were still the most special thing about her, and everything else got overshadowed by scars and name. The resemblance to Sasuke was strong enough most mistook them for siblings, and everyone called him handsome or pretty. A fact which confused her because if Haruhi looked like Sasuke, didn't that make her pretty too? Generally, several amongst the Uchiha were considered attractive. As a child, Haruhi'd seen some girls crush on Shisui. Even someone as cool as Yugao could get flustered around her brother. While Itachi had his admirers as well. Itachi and cousin Izumi had been... something. And Izumi'd been beautiful too. But then he'd killed her, so she didn't count him. At any rate, Haruhi didn't have a fan club like Sasuke, or dealt with attention like Itachi or Shisui did. The closest Haruhi got was today, and that was while cosplaying a tea house girl. Otherwise, no one had ever asked her on a date. Not that Haruhi'd say yes, but well, it just made a girl wonder. Was it something she did? Was it a scar? Or maybe Haruhi put people off somehow? Was it an Uchiha trait that skipped over her? Maybe Haruhi was being too shallow about everything, and Sasuke's admirers really did like him for him. And that's why Haruhi didn't get that kind of attention. On one hand, that was kinda depressing. Was something the matter with her? On the other, didn't she know how awful it was to have Sasuke's sort of attention? Being hounded for looks or fame? Haruhi didn't want that. Any of it. Kankuro had reminded her of how uncomfortable it was to receive admiration she couldn't return. This really was better. Much better. Her line of thoughts were interrupted when Kakashi-sensei cleared his voice. Let's see. Here, before I forget. He reached into his pocket while Haruhi shook the thoughts away. What was she doing? This was such a useless line of thought. She was in the middle of work. Kakashi-sensei brought out 3 paper slips. I got these for you. Accepting hers, Haruhi was thoroughly distracted from the headline alone, her heart beating faster for each following word. I, Hatake Kakashi, hereby nominate Uchiha Haruhi for the Chunin selection exam. Haruhi could participate? But Gai-sensei said rookie Genny never got nominated. That rookies hadn't been in the exam in a decade. Naruto squinted at it. What's a Chunin exam? Haruhi waved her nomination slip. It's an evaluation process to select new Chunin. Kona's hosting this time. Man, but we just passed the Genin exam. Now they want us to give us more tests? Naruto grimaced. It's voluntary, Sensei said. It's up to each of you whether to attend. Naruto squinted at his slip. It says it's on Monday. That's in 2 days. He started counting his fingers. 3 days, Sasuke sighed. At 9 o'clock at the academy. Yeah, 3 days! And what? We've got to meet at the academy? Oh man. No, that sounds so boring. I don't want more stupid exams. This isn't even mandatory. Naruto grumbled, throwing his nomination over his shoulder. It flickered around in the air, yet landed with unexpected accuracy into the bullseye of the trash can. Haruhi was surprised. She thought he'd want to try it. But then again, he'd never tested well. It really wasn't normal for rookies to do the Chunin exam. Sasuke seemed dubious too, looking like he couldn't figure out if making Chunin rank would give him more or less time to train. Becoming a Genin had actually eaten into his training time, not given him more. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. I think I will. Haruhi grinned, putting the slip safely in her pocket. Her cousin put it in his pocket too. Why do you want to try for Chunin? Team Guy's taking the test, Haruhi said. So I'm going. If Sensei didn't nominate us, I was considering asking. I wasn't aware it was so soon though. At that, Sasuke seemed a little more open to it. Asking teachers for extra tests? Naruto shook his head in exasperation, turning to his chopping board. Nerds! Hey, if I make Chunin, I'm gonna get one of those green flak jackets, Naruto. Haruhi sing-songed. He paused with the knife hanging still in the air. Man, I didn't think of that. He eyed the trash again, the slip peeking over the edge, but then shook his head vehemently as if trying to dislodge the temptation. I've got better things to do. If you want to go take school tests, I'll spend my time training to get stronger than all of you. Nah, if any of you do decide to participate, all you've got to do is meet up at the time and place listed on the slip. Kakashi-sensei explained. He tilted his head as he was about to say more, but then looked directly at Haruhi. You should go out there. Sounds like another customer is coming. Haruhi hadn't heard anything, but she should probably check whether the Suna siblings needed anything. You know what? I don't like Haruhi being out there with those Suna bastards pulling blades on her, Naruto said, throwing his knife on the counter. They should know she's not alone. Putting on his best scowl, Naruto follows Haruhi out to the front. Upon her return, Kankuro looked away quickly, as if he'd been watching the kitchen door. Self-conscious now, Haruhi straightened her bangs, making sure the hair still folded right. There's no new customers here, Naruto said, noticing the obvious too. He slumped down on the stool by the register, arms crossed and jaw set, trying to look intimidating, but kind of failing. The Suna ninjas had finished their tea, but just as Haruhi headed over, an inexplicable unease coiled down her spine. The hairs on Haruhi's neck stood on end, and she almost faltered. The Suna ninjas had gone still as well, tense and on alert, while Naruto smacked his hand on the counter, killing a bug. He must have missed because he tried again, but this time his hand froze in place. He'd sensed it too. Haruhi kept an eye on the door, but it never opened. The sense lingered, and she could have sworn something had shifted in the room. Abruptly, Naruto shrieked like he'd seen a ghost, and Haruhi rolled around. A pale boy had appeared by the register, just a couple steps away from Naruto. The stranger had auburn hair and vivid teal eyes, made all the brighter because of the dark markings framing them. Those markings made up for his lacking eyebrows, along with a kanji tattoo a little off-center on his brow. He was carrying a large gourd across his back, and Haruhi clocked the Suna emblem etched onto the strap. Another one? But maybe it wasn't as strange. They were close to the gates, and stopping by a tea house after a long journey was normal enough. Where the hell did you come from? Naruto asked brashly, though speaking for everyone. Haruhi would like to know that too. Had he climbed through the open corner window? It wasn't that big, so how did he fit his gourd? Ah, why are you here? Tamari was on her feet in an instant. the sharp-eyed Kunoichi shedding away for something bent and apologetic. You said you were going to our accommodations first. Do you need us for anything? Did we keep you waiting? Kankuro scrambled up beside her, knocking over his empty cup. The change of attitude in the Suna siblings was bizarre. Even if they were from the same village, why were they, the Kazekage's children, groveling to someone younger? Haruhi hadn't seen this sort of switch of behavior since the Death Eater's fawnt over Voldemort's new body. Yet Haruhi couldn't look away either, a prickle warning her to keep this person in sight. It wasn't safe. Something was very off about him. The redhead didn't heed his fellow Suna ninja. Arms folded, he talked more to the register than Naruto. Tea. You're ordering? Naruto ventured. Tamari swallowed. We can get it. But the boy cut her off. The strongest you have. Blue Eyes flickered panic towards Haruhi for assistance. Naruto had been in the back all day and had certainly not memorized the menu. The tension must have been sharp enough for Sasuke to sense it from the kitchen, because the door hinges creaked and he peered out. Seeing the Suna ninjas, he came into the shop, just as Haruhi stepped in to do her job and put the pressure off Naruto. We can make you a strong matcha. A bit too late, Haruhi recalled she was supposed to be a tea house girl and bowed, if a shallow one. She couldn't make herself bend all the way and expose the back of her neck. Yes. Of course. Her gaze drifted from the teal eyes to the kanji tattoo. Red, jagged, carved? Love? She'd murmured the meaning aloud. A table over, Kankuro choked and Tamari gaped. The redhead blinked, a slow but deliberate thing. Belatedly, Haruhi realized that it had come out sounding damn forwards. Like, of course, love. Please take a seat. Her voice cracked from mortification, torn between a sudden urge to laugh nervously and dig herself a hole to die in. Without commenting, he took a seat while Haruhi scurried away to prepare his tea. A thick, almost paste-like ceremonial matcha. Extremely caffeinated and bitter. He'd be up all night. Sasuke sidled up to the counter, watching the Suna group with unperturbed sharpness that left no doubt he was a ninja. Without saying a single word, the Suna ninjas had noticed him, keenly so. Because despite wearing dish gloves and an apron, Sasuke couldn't fake being a civilian to save his life. He had no interest to try. She finished the tea too fast, leaving Haruhi no choice but to return with his order. Teal eyes watched her come back, unblinking, making the walk to his stable seem twice as long. In a silence so tense it could cut, Haruhi heard her own breathing, her steps, the noises from the street outside, and something rustling inside the gourd on his back. She poured his drink, every gesture and twitch of her muscle dissected. It would be great timing if Naruto could cause his usual ruckus right about now. Take some of the scrutiny off her, maybe. The tea house girl so desperate for tips she apparently called anyone love. Who are you? Sasuke, her rescuer, asked bluntly. Me? Tamari asked, flustered. No, you. Sasuke nodded towards Love Boy. No, Tattoo Guy. Haruhi corrected the label within her head. She didn't need another slip. You're from Sunagakure. What are you doing in Konoha? I am Sabaku no Gara. He picked up his tea, watching the steam curl upwards. We're here for the tuning exam. Gara of the Desert. Haruhi hadn't heard of that moniker, but it sounded impressive from him, not just bragging. She wondered if she could strike the same level of intimidation if she went around introducing herself in some random tea house as Haruhi, the Witch of the Uchiha. You're all entering? Sasuke smirked. Haruhi could tell from his tone he'd found a reason to participate too. Why else would he be here? Kankuro grumbled. And who are you? Gaara said, drinking his tea as easily as if it was water, and not the most bitter blend in the village hidden in the leaves, watching Sasuke over the edge of the porcelain. Uchiha Sasuke, he said. I'll be seeing you at the exam. And me! I'll see you too! Naruto stepped forwards. Want to know who I am? No. Gaara finished his drink, putting his cup down with a soft but final clink. We're leaving. Tamari shot to her feet. Right, yes. Kankuro scrambled after her. The three fell into a team structure on their way out, Gaara at the head. Though Kankuro turned in the doorway, he winked at her. Well, come back later. Please don't, she didn't say, but it was tempting. Haruhi stood rooted, the iron grip on her teapot only loosening once the door closed behind them. Looks like the Chunin exam might be worth my time after all, Sasuke remarked, pulling off his dishwater gloves. She'd forgotten he was still wearing those. Yeah! Naruto pumped his fist in the air. Chunin exam, here we come! He whooped, suddenly all in, despite dismissing the exam as nerdy earlier. Apparently, Naruto just hadn't realized the exam was more than school tests and grading evaluations. It meant being pitted against powerful opponents too. Moron. Sasuke shook his head. There'll be powerful genin from around the elemental nations participating in the Chunin exam. The other villages don't just send anyone, you know. They've all been nominated. Haruhi put the teapot down, examining her hand, almost detached. Now that they were gone, she couldn't help wonder what about Gaara put her so on edge. It hadn't been killing intent, no threats spoken. I can't wait! Pure excitement radiated from Naruto. He finally got it. Besides, Haruhi was quite happy they had changed their minds too. This is going to rock! Naruto? She put her hands on her hips. For all his bravado, wasn't he forgetting something? You threw away your nomination slip. His eyes went huge, like he'd just seen perfectly good ramen ruined with matcha. Damn it! With a distraught yelp, he bolted into the kitchen. No! Leaving Haruhi and Sasuke to listen while their teammate rummaged through soggy tea leaves and trashed the safest entrance slip.